Okay, number 1, don't be a hater because it's black and white. Black and white movies are filmed with such amazing artistry because you have to consider all the shadows and the lights because everything was dark or everything was light. And when you watch those scenes between Ilsa and Rick, it's amazing to watch in black and white. And I've seen it in color. You can see Casablanca in color, but it's just not quite as cool, it's not as beautiful.
It's usually referred to as probably the most classic movie of all time. The more you watch it, the more you will see it in other things that you watch. It's referenced all the time. It's spoofed all the time. There are so many famous lines, particularly towards the end, a lot of lines you'll recognize. And as you watch it, you'll find yourself going, oh my goodness, I've heard these lines my whole life. How did I not know they all came from the same movie?
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine. We'll always have Paris. That the problems of 3 little people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world. Is looking at you, kid.
The reasons I love this movie are, first of all, there's this historical aspect to it, and I love movies that teach you something about history.
I think my personal favorite thing about Casablanca would be the characters. The characters are so rich and so interesting. First of all, you have Rick, Humphrey Bogart. If I were to pass Humphrey Bogart on the street, I wouldn't be like, that is a sexy man. He's not really particularly attractive, but for some reason, as Rick, he's so cool, he's so suave, that he is very attractive. Rick is also a really fun character because you have no idea what he is going to do. You don't know who he's going to side with. He constantly says,
I'd stick my neck out for nobody.
But it's really fun because throughout the movie you kind of get to watch him break that rule. But as he is consistently breaking that rule, you're not sure who he's going to break it for.
One of my favorite things about Casablanca as a love story is it shows the man as the more vulnerable of the two. I feel like Ilsa is very strong. You get to see this incredible vulnerable side of Humphrey Bogart, and that is so rare.
Then you had Ingrid Bergman, who is one of my favorite leading ladies of days gone by. She was very, very beautiful, but she also had this amazingly fun to listen to accent. And she just brings a wonderful humanity to her roles. I really, really enjoy watching her perform.
One of my other favorite characters is Captain Renault. I probably said that horribly wrong. It's French. He's kind of a scuzzy guy, not very moral, I would say, but he is delightful and he is very funny. He has probably some of the funniest lines in the movie, and because the rest of the movie is so serious, that makes those lines 10 times funnier.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Everybody out at once.
As they were making this film, nobody really knew what was going to happen. The war was still happening. And in fact, shortly after the movie was finished shooting, it still wasn't edited, North Africa, including Casablanca, was invaded and occupied. And when the movie was made, Casablanca was still unoccupied France, technically, and not under Nazi control.
One of my other favorite things about Casablanca is some of the themes. The themes are really, really deep and really interesting. It's a heavy movie. It's not like a Saturday night, we just came home from partying, let's watch Casablanca. You want to sit down and be prepared for kind of a deep experience, because I think one of the most important themes is what is the right thing and how do I make the right choice?
I think my favorite scene in the movie is a scene where there's a bunch of Germans at Rick's cafe, and the Germans start singing what you assume is the national anthem of Germany, and then the sort of secondary protagonist, I guess his name is Laszlo, he strikes up the French national anthem, and it becomes this sort of singing match between the Germans and the French. And again, it was just another beautiful and powerful microcosm of the war in general. And I mean, some of the people are in tears, and genuinely some of them, they say, were probably in tears because they were people who had lost their homes. That scene is I think one of the most powerful scenes in cinema.
Casablanca won 3 Oscars, including Best Picture, and got an additional 4 nominations.
Ingrid Bergman was taller than Humphrey Bogart, so most of the time I believe they pulled a Tom Cruise.
Only the first half of the script was finished when they started filming, which once you see the second half of the movie, kind of blows your mind away.
The 2 lead actors and the director were all second choices. they were telling people that the lead for the movie was going to be Ronald Reagan.
Casablanca is based on a play called Everybody Comes to Rick's.
The song As Time Goes By, you've all heard it, I'm sure. It's actually the song that Warner Brothers uses with their logo these days. It's a huge part of the movie. On the editing table, the composer came on board and said, I want to take this song out. But they tried to get Ingrid Bergman back and she couldn't do it, and so finally they had to give up.
Sam initially was supposed to be played by a woman. The guy who played Sam is a drummer, and he had to fake playing the piano quite a bit. But when I thought about it, he was so good at entertaining, you never looked at his hands.
Strasser, who is the main Nazi commander, he is actually a Jewish man who escaped Nazi Germany. He really wanted to play this Nazi person to show how evil the Nazi regime was.
At the very end, one of the more famous lines is,
I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
that line was an afterthought. They went back in and did a voiceover with Humphrey Bogart afterwards. Very different ending.
Unlike a lot of other Hollywood films, studios and directors have refused to remake Casablanca. It is that good.
It is one of the best movies I've probably ever seen. I would give it 5 stars without a doubt.
I would give it 4.5 stars out of 5. It is not quite my favorite movie, and the reason for that is I don't really like war movies.
All in all, I would definitely give Casablanca 5 stars. Every time I watch it, it is a delight, and every time I watch it, there's something new I find and something interesting. Definitely one of my favorite movies.